I came in as a chief internal auditor. I think the department had just been restructured, and the board then hired a chief internal auditor, and then I came in, and I'd just finished my MBA, so I was like, let me see what opportunities are there outside Stanbic, because I had worked in Stanbic for 10 years in the position of senior audit manager. So I looked at it as an opportunity, career growth, and then the moment I came in, I must say I was a bit shocked. It's not what I expected. This was a purely typical government run like a pure public sector, kind of institution. And by then I didn't have much experience, with public sector. But then my understanding was just that I think if it's an institution, it's a body corporate, there is a way things just must be done. And I think what was done here was really not right at all across the board. So my role was for an internal auditor. So first I had to set up the department because it was not there, and then started to work based on my experience. So what I recall is that I started to work, all the reports that I used to do were unsatisfactory, as we used to call them. So all the reports. And the board appreciated what I was doing, and they were saying if you had come here even 2 years ago, this institution would have changed. And the board asked me to do an investigation into a portfolio. I think it was a trade finance portfolio, a product that they had introduced, but then that product was not managed, where all those loans had gone bad. So the board asked me to do an investigation, and when I did it and I gave the report implicated senior managers. I think the CEO then, the former CEO, and then 1 or 2 senior managers then. The bank was also going into a transition at that point, because the old board was going out and then the new board had come in. So I did that audit, I gave the report to the board, and then the board tried to handle it, and then they left, the old board. So now there was a new board that came. It was very many things happening that year. Even the auditors changed. So there used to be Ernst & Young, but that year also there's PwC. So PwC did the audit. They did not conclude the audit. I did not know because I was not in mainstream management. And so when the new board came and said, where's the audit report? PwC, who were the new auditors, said, we did the audit, we have finished, but we've not issued the opinion because we've disagreed with management on a number of issues. So anyway, fast forward, the bank's accounts, had a disclaimer of opinion that year. And the basis of disclaimer of opinion was the management had been implicated in an internal audit forensic report. And without a forensic investigation, the auditors said they cannot rely on representations of management. So now that's the opinion that the new board got. So they needed to start from somewhere, and that's where they had to start from. So when they started from there, they needed to understand what's going on, if there is an allusion of a forensic, audit, and then Auditor General was invited to come in and do the forensic audit, and to pave way for that, the senior managers were suspended, and after that, they eventually got terminated. So one thing led to another. Those guys got terminated, and then at that point, that's when now I was appointed to act as the CEO. So then that's the institution now that I found with everything kind of wrong and messy. And those are the issues that later, I think, culminated into what you saw in terms of me being arrested, etc. So what happened is when the other group is out, and then now I am in, without anyone yet, not many people, because now you're still trying to understand what's going on here, and then trying to put things right. I recall there was nothing like a strategic plan. Everything was really upside down, let me just put it that way. No policies or procedures or anything around risk management, and this is a bank, So it was really a process with the board then of trying. Even the board at that point really had to come in to do a lot of work, because that was the state of management. So in that process, there's also a lot of cleaning up in terms of now you're putting in place processes, you're putting in place policies. If anyone happens not to because you're trying to create a new culture. So if, for example, you find cultures that are not fitting in the institution that the board was trying to create, so a number of people found themselves, kind of leaving at that point, okay? So while we're still trying to work, one day, IGG started coming in. Of course, we're accused. Now that is the accusation. So the accusation was around corruption. So suddenly, I am branded corrupt, myself and the board. So they had to find some kind of criminal charges or allegations and use those. So when I used to read the IGG letters then, it seemed that they wanted to create some criminal kind of charges. So, you know, when you have criminal charges and then the HR policy then said if a staff is criminally charged, they may be suspended. If the matter is not resolved within 3 months, they may be terminated. So I think the people who were behind this thought it would have been that easy. Like, just frame any, you know, criminal charges, the guys will be, you know, suspended, and then of course we cannot prosecute this, and then, you know, as time goes on, they'll just be terminated. So that's what, you know, really, that was the plan. I had been put on suspension because when the first case of victimization of whistleblower did not get me out of office because the board challenged it, so then they brought up another one of saying I influenced, you know, the process of my recruitment. And then with that now, IGG said I must leave, so I went on suspension. So when I went on suspension, while I was serving the suspension, we got a ruling from court, from the High Court, that annulled the actions of the IGG, including the suspension that I was serving. And then as a result of that, I come back to office.
Download the app on App Store or Google Play Store now. Vision Digital Experience, the future of media.